right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, a life-saving rescue kickstarting a new life.
It was a very tense moment.
The unexpected delivery adding new members to a local family.
Temperatures today got into the mid to upper 30s in most cases, even low 40s in some cases as well, but this is close to normal. Why we're so far from normal the next few days and how long we can hold on to the above average trend.
Our top story, one person is dead, parts of a home destroyed. The dangerous history at this same intersection. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Mike Bush. Tonight, at least one person is dead after a car crashed into a Washington County home. 2 people were hurt in the crash on State Highway 47 in Richwoods. 5 on your side's Annie Kroll talked with police and neighbors who say they've seen these kind of accidents before.
A car failing to stop at a 4-way intersection on Route 47 leads to a deadly crash and a kitchen destroyed.
So basically all we know right now is that it was a 2-vehicle crash. It was at a 4-way intersection. One vehicle failed to yield, struck another vehicle, and one of the vehicles was pushed into and struck a parked car and then also struck a residence.
In the aftermath of the Sunday afternoon crash, the damage it's leaving behind isn't going away anytime soon. This is the house one of the cars hit, damaging the foundation of the exterior and leaving the family inside without running water. The homeowners didn't want to go on camera, but told us no one inside was hurt, though it was a close call as they heard the pickup truck run into their house. It's not the first time a crash has hit close to home. They've seen at least 3 at this Highway H intersection in the last year, though they said having someone die on their doorstep is the worst it's ever been since moving here in 2012. Sergeant Andrew Gadberry with Missouri State Highway Patrol said crashes like these are far too common.
2-vehicle crashes, they happen, unfortunately happen all the time. The 3 main reasons for crashes in Missouri are speeding, DWI, and distracted driving. I don't know if this crash involved any of those because we haven't got that information yet. But when it comes to crashes, that's going to be your 3 main reasons they occur.
The Richwoods Fire Protection District shared the intersection's flashing lights are motion sensitive, hoping to help people notice the stop signs. Yet this Washington County family is now strongly considering moving. Annie Kroll, 5 on your side.
2 other people who were inside the cars involved were taken to the hospital with critical injuries. The homeowner told us that for the next few days, they're going to have to find somewhere else to live as they clean up from the crash. Right now, a teenage boy is fighting for his life after being shot in Spanish Lake. Police were called to a home on Criterion Avenue around 4:15 today. The teen was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officers arrested a suspect at the scene. We're working to get an update on the victim's condition. Turning now to the weather impact forecast, a return today to normal January cold. The good news, though, meteorologist Gary Frank says it will only get warmer from here, right, Gary?
Feels like the first Sunday in a while I've been able to give some good news, whether we're talking about a lot of snow, more cold, a couple of melting days here or there, but back to the Arctic chill. We're not seeing any of that this week. In fact, you go outside and yes, it's cold now. If you're going outside right now, this is the last night that I'm going to tell you that it's cold. You look, and the reason why is our insulator, our blanket, all that rain and moisture to our south and cloud cover has exited, and we're starting to see that colder air settle in from north to south. You can see that we're in the low 20s area wide, so it's gotten cooler already, and I think we'll hold pretty steady. I do think we'll fall into the teens eventually in some cases. It's going to feel a little cooler than that, though, as we continue to clear out into the rest of the overnight hours. But our main advanced impacts the next 10 days, one more cold morning. Overall, we're 10+ degrees above average every afternoon, if not more, and we're remaining dry till Thursday. We've backed up that timeline and also changed one of the weekend days next week with temperatures, and we'll talk about why those changes were made and also track that rain as we enter Thursday all the way through Saturday.
We're just hours away from learning new details about the homicide of a Collinsville woman. Tonight, the Major Case Squad announced that there will be a news conference tomorrow afternoon at Collinsville City Hall. Police arrested 3 people yesterday. It will take place just hours before Portia Rowland's loved ones will gather for her funeral. She was shot and killed outside her home Tuesday morning. We'll bring you updates on the news conference on air, online, and on the 5+ streaming app. Tonight, the interim superintendent with St. Louis Public Schools is opening up on changes within the district. This comes after a district-wide audit revealed multiple issues under former Superintendent Keisha Scarlett. That includes problems with hiring practices and credit card usage. Dr. Millicent Borachade tells 5 on your side changes have been made. The district is also reviewing policies on pay increases and interim roles. However, Borashade says their biggest commitment is to communication. Registration, by the way, for the 2025-26 school year is now open, but you must use the district's new online enrollment system. New at 10, the Blackjack Fire Department got a wake-up call they weren't expecting earlier this month, a baby delivery. In a story you'll only see here on 5 on Your Side, our Laura Barczewski takes us to North St. Louis County, where baby Noah made an unexpected entrance into the world.
On a cold January morning, Courtney Pfister was woken up by a different alarm clock.
So I woke up at 1:54 a.m. with my first contraction, and after 3 contractions, they started coming every 2 minutes.
Courtney was pregnant with her and her husband Jesse's 6th child, and like every time before, they had a plan.
We had joked about the fire department coming to the house because of the crazy weather in the last several months, and so we thought, well, you know, maybe that's a possibility, but it was more of a ha kind of thing, like that would probably not happen. We'll make the hospital, it'll be okay.
But their unborn son Noah had a plan of his own.
We prayed for wisdom, we got wisdom, we called 911, and they were at the house within a few minutes.
And those few minutes were anything but calm. He had to run to unlock the front door for the Blackjack Fire Protection District.
I was running back and forth and then on the phone also with the operator. And the operator was starting to give me instructions just in case the firemen didn't make it.
But they made it.
Noah was born at 3:08. The firemen got into our bedroom at 3:04. He was crowning, and so they came in just the nick of time. The cord was wrapped around his neck, and so he was turning lots of different colors, blue and purple.
Those firemen were fast asleep just 20 minutes prior, but firefighter paramedic Ethan Trukin says they fell quickly into the rhythm of their training.
So I was talking to Miss Courtney most of the time and coaching her through everything.
Meanwhile, his partner Keith Gardner was working to finish delivering baby Noah and unwrap the umbilical cord.
We were able to kind of kickstart his respiratory effort to where he could take over on his own.
Courtney says she couldn't have done it without them.
So having the firefighters there, knowing what to do, just helping coach me along to get him the rest of the way out so they could give him oxygen, probably saved his life. So we're very, very grateful.
The Pfister family felt called to thank them, a welcome surprise for the whole team.
You always wonder like what the outcome was for the patient or the family, and this was one of those things that I was very delighted to see them and kind of get to talk and see the baby.
Just makes you forget all the bad calls. It makes the job worth it.
In Blackjack, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
Well, about an hour ago, the Kansas City Chiefs clinched their 3rd straight Super Bowl appearance. The Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills 32-29 at Arrowhead, and they'll go on to play the Philadelphia Eagles in the big game. If they win, the Chiefs would be the first team ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls. We caught up with local fans here who say they're ready to witness history.
Everybody's yelling, screaming, jumping up and down, turning flip-flops, crying, yelling, everything at the same time. Anytime the Chiefs are playing to go to the Super Bowl, it's exciting.
The Super Bowl is set for February 9th at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans.
Stories from the Holocaust kept alive generations later.
I'm so impressed with the courage and dedication of the descendants.
A local museum's never-ending mission to make sure this dark side of history is never forgotten.
It's important being kind of the last generation to really have these relationships.
All the wind out west, all the rain out west, that's the system that's tracking our way. We'll talk about when it arrives and why it may provide some beneficial rain for us later on this week.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
Tomorrow marks International Holocaust Remembrance Day and the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. In tonight's Making a Difference report, we meet a St. Louis woman determined to keep one of history's darkest chapters from fading into the shadows. The St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum stands as a silent sentinel, guarding against the darkness of history.
So many people think that the Holocaust is...
But inside these walls, voices still echo through generations.
You had the huge population in Poland.
I think it's really a testament to St. Louis that we have a museum like this here honoring the survivors. It takes the support of our community.
Chrissy Pileski serves on the museum's board, carrying forward a story that's deeply personal. Her grandparents, Teresa and Marion, were from Krakow, Poland, when the Nazis invaded.
Teresa was sent to Auschwitz, the infamous death camp where more than 1 million people perished. Marion's life was saved by a German businessman named Oskar Schindler.
So this is life.
Part of a story later immortalized in Steven Spielberg's Academy Award-winning film, Schindler's List.
Knowing what they had been through and then how they were able to move forward with their lives and rebuild is truly remarkable.
After liberation, the Poleskis made it to Montreal, starting a new life, raising a family. They rarely spoke of those dark days, but their granddaughter, a former teacher, now speaks for them, sharing their story with dozens of students and visitors who come through the museum each year.
I feel that it's important, being kind of the last generation, to really have these relationships with our grandparents, to hear from them, to see, the facts, to know that this was something that happened.
On International Holocaust Remembrance Day, museum staff read the names of Holocaust victims, a sobering reminder that 6 million Jews were murdered.
I'm so impressed with the courage and dedication of the descendants of the survivors who continue to take on this burden of letting the world know that it's a slippery slope. When you start to see hatred raise its head again, you must speak out.
This museum especially does such a good job of...
And while Chrissy sees troubling echoes of the past in today's headlines, she finds strength each time students walk through these doors, learning the hard truth about where hatred can lead.
As disturbing as it is to see sometimes, a resurgence in anti-Semitism, this museum and the students that come through this museum give me a lot of hope for the future generation.
Because here in this place, the light of remembrance still burns bright, trying to ensure that the darkness of the Holocaust never returns. The reading of the names of Holocaust victims will take place from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the museum on Monday. Even in those 7 hours, they'll only get through a fraction of the 6 million who perished. Tonight, relief from the California wildfires is now causing many to board up their homes. A rainstorm is expected to help in the fight against the flames. However, officials say with so much vegetation destroyed, there's a strong chance of flooding and mudslides. Fire crews now digging trenches to help minimize the damage, while homeowners rush to fortify their homes.
If we have water damage, that just adds another situation on top of already what we're going through. This is just a little bit, there's more work we have to do on these houses by adding wood, plywood to just keep the doors shut.
More than 400 state workers are creating trenches in the area. State officials say it's California's largest watershed protection mission ever. And we have a list of ways you can help those affected by the California wildfires on KSDK.com. Just text the word FIRE to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. Meteorologist Gary Frank rejoined us now with the weather impact forecast and with temperatures going to be on the rise very soon.
Yeah, very nice. I'm tired of seeing all the snow in my, more like ice in my driveway that I haven't cleared and some of the spots in the shade. We've got days throughout the rest of the week that this stuff's going to get out of here. And as we look downtown on Market Street and overlooking City Park, still quiet. You'll notice the flag is lighter now. It moved out of the north more so than anything. It's out of the west-northwest at 3 miles an hour, down to 27. We got to 38 today. Our average is 41, and the crows are flying everywhere because why not? That's what it looks like. Those are real. People ask. Yes, they're still there, and they're still out there. Even as I just flip this back and forth, you can see they're flying everywhere. That's what they do at this hour and pretty much every hour. But over the most part of the month, we've seen a lot of days that are below average. It seems like every Sunday I've been telling you, this week's going to be terrible. This week's going to be terrible. There's a couple of days. This week's going to be terrible. We've got some reds that are going to fill in here as we are close to normal. Now, it's going to be a cold night, and it already is right now. We're in the 20s and teens, but we're clearing. Things will get better here for tomorrow. In fact, we're going to rebound nicely. We're not only above freezing by about 10 a.m., but we're going to be way above that in the afternoon. Mid to upper 40s, a southwest breeze at 10 to 15. Start to move some things around and start to see some melting going on, and that's the beginning of it. Now, I do want to talk about that system that's still in California. It will impact us us later on this week, believe it or not. And you're starting to see all this rain, and that's, you know, like they mentioned, the issues over the same spots with the fires and all that kind of stuff. This is a very slow-moving system. If I'm telling you this is affecting us later this week, why is it so slow? Let's look at where this is right here, and I just showed it to you. Let's look to the north. This is where this high is. This ridge of high pressure overall is warmer, it's sinking air, and mostly our jet stream goes even north of Alaska and a ways away. And look where this really cold air is. You know, it's over the Hudson Bay, and that's where the main storms continue to flow. Well, that doesn't include St. Louis, but as I put this into motion and zoom back down here, look where this system is. It's cut off from that main flow. So by Tuesday, it still sits there. By Wednesday, still sits there. Eventually, it starts to pick up a head of steam and gets closer by Thursday or Friday. You'll notice we're still on that southwesterly flow, the warmer air. By Saturday, that's where we're going to see that kind of settle in, and that brings us our best chance for rain. Thursday, I want to include it as early as Thursday night, especially to the south, but we're going to start to see that settle in for Friday, and then I think we get a break, and then maybe the tail end of that, a few showers. I'm not all that concerned about anything that's going to provide us with flooding rain, but it's certainly going to clear things out for us because, you know, it's going to be a sloppy, nasty mess, and then you're going to see some rain that clears all the stuff off the roads. So let's start with tomorrow, 41, and then 31 overnight, and I think that's the key for us this week as we see a lot of melting even in the shaded areas because we're not going to see that deep refreeze. We've got temps in the mid-50s on Tuesday, low to mid-50s on Wednesday, and it will slightly get cooler as that system approaches us here, but look at those overnight lows. And I think by Friday, most of the snow's out of here, not the big piles in the parking lot, but overall, even as we cool back down, we're going right back up on Sunday. And like I mentioned, Saturday, we've brought back down. That's a shot of cooler air before Sunday goes back up.
Time to go on the move. I'm Paul Cook, your traffic guy from Today in St. Louis. I'd like to update you on a big road construction project in the Metro East. IDOT says that failed bridge joint replacement project on I-70 east of the Stan Musial Bridge is still on the fast track to be fixed.
I can guarantee you this approach has never been done in District 8, so we're doing everything we can to get it reopened and restore the service to the motoring public. We understand the inconvenience, but we're trying to maintain our high standard for safety for the motoring public.
Those bridge joints broke last summer, which was a big surprise that they failed much sooner than expected. IDOT was really worried about delays as well because they had to remake 4 custom joints. Well, good news. Joe Monroe tells me 2 of the 4 have finally arrived last week. Remember your detour here. Drivers need to stay on 5570 in East St. Louis until I-255. Then you can get back on I-64 East. And I'll make sure to keep you updated on IDOT's progress. Stay safe out there. Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
A new push in President Trump's immigration enforcement, the president's threat ending an international showdown. Developing tonight, President Donald Trump is giving more resources to immigration enforcement in Chicago. The president granted several federal agencies additional powers to arrest undocumented immigrants there. Homeland Security officials say they're targeting public safety and national security threats. However, others may be detained. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says there needs to be better protection for citizens.
What we need is a path to citizenship for them. We need to secure our border. We need to get rid of the violent criminals, but we also need to protect people, at least the residents of Illinois and all across the nation, who are just doing what we hope that immigrants will do.
Just yesterday, immigrant advocacy groups in the city sued the Trump administration, claiming the raids are unconstitutional. An international fight tonight surrounding President Trump's immigration policies. The president threatened to impose 25% tariffs and visa sanctions against Colombia in retaliation for denying entry to 2 U.S. military deportation flights. Within the hour, the White House dropped those threats after Colombia agreed to accept those deported migrants. Tonight, the Franklin County Sheriff is reacting to the arrest of a local man on the FBI's most wanted list. Donald Fields faces multiple state and federal charges, including child sex trafficking and rape. Florida police caught Fields yesterday morning during a traffic stop outside of Orlando. He was on the run for close to 3 years. Franklin County Sheriff Steve Pelton released a statement today saying, in part, quote, "We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the law enforcement agencies that contributed to the capture. Their dedication, coordination, and persistence have been instrumental in bringing Donald Fields to justice." Tonight, dozens of North City residents are looking for a place to live after a fire destroyed their apartment building. That fire broke out yesterday morning in the Baden neighborhood. 4 people were hurt. One of them is in critical condition tonight. Today, the Red Cross announced they're stepping in, providing shelter and food to 11 of the more than 40 people affected by the fire. Officials say they're still working to make sure the remaining victims aren't left behind.
We had some disaster mental health experts go out there to meet with the residents, and then we also started to assess their needs and see what it is that they needed in terms of assistance, a safe place to stay, and so forth. And so we are walking that journey with them.
The St. Louis Fire Department is still investigating the cause of the fire. Well, the party is just getting started. The celebration helping a local attraction spread its wings for reopening. Well, it's never too early for Mardi Gras. The Sophia M. Sachs Butterfly House held a Mardi Gras themed party to celebrate its reopening. The conservatory was closed for the last few weeks for annual maintenance. Guests can see more than 1,500 butterflies in a carnival show. Multiple other insects like tarantulas and beetles were also on display. Tomorrow, Starbucks will start offering new incentives to in-store customers. Customers who choose to drink their coffee in the cafe will get free refills of hot or iced coffee and tea, and those customers will also get a new ceramic mug for their drink. In addition, the company says they're bringing back its milk and creamer condiment bar. And Gary has one final check of our cold weather.
Yeah, one last cold night, and we're going to feel it when we go outside here in a few minutes. You're going to start off cold tomorrow morning, and then it's going to warm up nicely, and then we just don't look back. Not any morning feels like this the next 7 days. We're in good shape. We're in the 50s. We got a lot of melting on the way.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+. Sports Plus with Frank Cusimano is next. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m.